Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. Okay, now some of y'all have been over here like, Rob, I really wish you would put what if before. Now y'all know good and well that we make up our what if stories on Saturdays. I don't know why some of y'all are acting brand new. Mariah's laughing at me. She's in the living room laughing at me right now. What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are covering what if Deadpool killed the DC universe. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. I don't know about you guys. I have fun with these, right? Like, the Marvel what if stories are okay, but like, there's just some that just don't have any imagination to them, right? But like, we can make ours up. So like, we can do whatever we want. we can give like Red Lantern rings to like all the X-Men if we wanted to. It's cool. I think we should do that. You know what? Give me ideas down in the comments. Give me ideas for like what if stories, right? I want to let your imaginations run wild, right? Like no limits. Just come up with anything, right? Like Spawn invades the Marvel universe, like the Incredible Hulk becomes Spawn. Give me all kinds of crazy ideas, right? Give me just some kooky stuff. Like, I really want to know what you guys come up with. But yes, so the mini-series, or at least this video, is based on the mini-series Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. And of course, that mini-series, as a lot of you guys probably know, took place outside of the main Marvel continuity, and it told the story of Deadpool being committed to the Ravencroft Asylum against his will by the X-Men, who basically hoped to cure him of his insanity. Now, if you want to know about the whole story, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool Killustrated, and Deadpool Kills Deadpool, which is all the Deadpool Kills trilogy, check the description. You'll find a link to those videos down in the description of this video. So what ends up happening is that instead of Deadpool being cured, Deadpool basically comes to the realization that he's a comic book character and that basically they're kind of in this cycle of being like killed and being recreated by creators and so on and so forth. So he goes on a crusade to quote unquote save everyone. There's this amazing moment where he takes Psycho Man, who was the guy that manipulated him, and starts like bashing his head, bashing his whole body into like this. It's crazy. But the funny thing about this is that with Psycho Man's plan backfiring, basically Deadpool is ultimately met with a third voice that's represented by red text bubbles that basically tells him to kill everybody in the asylum and everybody in the Marvel universe. And that's exactly what he does. He kills the X-Men, he kills the Fantastic Four, he kills the Avengers, and literally all the heroes and villains on Earth. Now, eventually, after he's killed everyone, he seeks out Man-Thing, who sacrifices himself to give Deadpool access to the Nexus of Realities, a gateway that allows him to travel between all the realities that exist, so that Deadpool can achieve his goal of killing all those who use the Marvel heroes and villains as pawns. Now, so the next thing that we end up seeing from Deadpool here is when he enters the Ideaverse in Deadpool Killustrated, and basically see him murdering characters from classical works of literature like Moby Dick and Sherlock Holmes. But for our video today, we're going to be taking a look at what would happen if instead of going to the Ideaverse, Deadpool had turned up in the DC universe. Now, when he arrives in the DC universe, the first place that Deadpool goes is the secret hideout of the Joker, as he wants to be the only sadist that constantly makes jokes in the DC universe, and also because he's tired of Harley Quinn infringing on his gimmick and of being the most overexposed character in comics. And he basically explains that he knows this because not only does he read DC comics, but he also participates in online forums, as after all, Deadpool is aware of the existence of the fourth wall, can see beyond it, and knows what the Comic Vine forums are. Anyway, once he gets there, he mows down Joker's henchmen with ease until only Joker and Harley are left in his way. They don gas masks, and Joker releases a plume of Joker toxin into Deadpool's face, and while it is initially effective, Deadpool's healing factor proves to be too advanced for the toxin to have any lasting effects, and Joker and Harley fall to Deadpool's blade relatively quickly. Now, after leaving the Joker's hideout, Deadpool tells the new voice in his head that now that Harley's out of the way, he can focus on hunting down the biggest gimmick thief in the entirety of the DC universe, a guy who's just a complete ripoff of Deadpool himself. He dresses like Deadpool, he's a mercenary like Deadpool, and not only is his code name similar to Deadpool's, but his real name is almost identical to Wade Wilson as well. Funny thing about it, Deadpool was based off this guy. Deadpool sets in search of Slade Wilson, better known as Deathstroke. The voice in his head tells him that many people think Wade is actually the ripoff, as Deathstroke has been around significantly longer. Now, Deadpool remarks that it doesn't matter who's been around first, that the guy who's relegated as a side character on a TV show on the CW will always be seen as a knockoff version of the guy who starred in 2 movies of his own, which is true. So Deadpool ends up tracking down Deathstroke, and they give us the battle that fans have wanted to see for a long time, and they're actually very evenly matched. Both are adept fighters with strong healing factors, although Deadpool's healing factor is probably the stronger of the two. At any rate, they battle for a while, and Deathstroke remarks that they are bound to fight forever, as they can each just keep healing from the damage inflicted on them by the other. And Deadpool replies that this story is titled Deadpool Kills the DC Universe, not Deadpool Comes to the DC Universe and Loses to Costco brand Deadpool. And so he cuts Deathstroke's head off, ending the battle. Now from there, we see Deadpool making his way throughout the DC universe and mowing down every hero and villain that he comes across. Characters like Nightwing, Green Arrow, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, and the Birds of Prey, all of Batman's rogues, and many others fall victim to Deadpool's rampage. Now when he's finished wreaking havoc, Deadpool tells the voice in his head that since he's cleared the DC universe of all of his B-list heroes, it's time to move on to the A-listers, the Justice League of America. And as he sets off for the Justice League Watchtower, the voice in his head asks how he plans to get there, since it's like, in outer space and Deadpool isn't. Well, Deadpool says not to worry. He'll just walk off the last panel of this page, and then when they get to the next page, he'll be there. And that's exactly what happens. Deadpool shows up in the Watchtower on the next panel, and the way I envision this going down is that he's done his research on what he needs to do to take down DC's most iconic heroes by reading about all their weaknesses in their comics. And as we'll get to in a minute, as powerful as these heroes are, with the exception of Cyborg, they have all had some pretty ridiculous weaknesses over the years. And while most of these are no longer canon, we're in a what-if story here. So I think we can be a little fast and loose with the continuity, especially for comedic effect and a storyline that's centered on Deadpool. So Deadpool shows up with all his knowledge that he's amassed throughout reading comics, as well as a backpack full of stuff he's acquired on his killing spree across the DC universe. And so when he shows up and makes his presence known to the Justice League, he's prepared for everything they're going to be able to throw at him. The Flash is the first to act, but Deadpool has a gun stolen from the corpse of Captain Cold that he blasts the Flash with, slowing him down long enough to throw a banana peel in his path, which causes the Flash to slip and fall headfirst into the tip of Deadpool's sword, impaling and killing him instantly. Wow, Deadpool says, honestly, I can't believe that actually worked. I thought maybe I was getting greedy going with the banana peel, but I have to admit, it wouldn't have nearly been awesome without it. Now with that, Martian Manhunter moves toward Deadpool, who quickly drops his cold gun in favor of a flamethrower. And Deadpool remarks, seriously dude, your fire is weakness? And that's true. It really is true, right? Deadpool says it's not the dumbest weakness any of you have, but it has to be the easiest to exploit. And that's true, right? Like, what is Martian Manhunter really? He's basically Superman, but he can shapeshift, he has telepathy, and he's afraid of fire. That's it. Anybody who comes to you and says, no, there's a lot more to the Martian Manhunter than that, they're lying to you, right? Like, he's cool, whatever, but he's just like, oh, fire, I can never enjoy a fireplace, that kind of a thing. But regardless, Deadpool points the muzzle of the flamethrower toward Martian Manhunter and lets loose a stream of fire that engulfs and kills him. And then Deadpool, of course, says no as he turns his attention to Hal Jordan. The distinction of dumbest weaknesses of all time definitely goes to you. Yellow? Seriously? Your weakness is a color, and not even an intimidating color, but the color of daffodils and sunshine and fuzzy baby ducks. I guess it could be worse. If you were vulnerable to something really lame, like, I don't know, wood or something, well then I guess it would particularly suck. Now, Green Lantern's ring produces a green light construct that attempts to encase Deadpool with it, but Deadpool puts on a bright yellow raincoat, and Hal's construct is unable to affect him. Deadpool then rummages through his arsenal and grabs a wooden spear painted bright yellow. He hurls the spear at Hal Jordan, and the spear goes straight through his heart and pins him to the wall before he dies. That actually makes sense. The color yellow. Like, how is he not weak to sunshine? That's my question. So that basically leaves Deadpool standing face to face with the trinity of the DC universe: Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. Now Batman steps forward and gruffly asks who Deadpool is and why he's come to the Watchtower and murdered all of his friends. And Deadpool looks at Batman and softly says, Bruce, this won't make sense, but you have to believe me. Martha sent me. Now, Batman is stunned at the mention of his late mother's name and tries to wrap his mind around what this strange person in a cheap Deathstroke costume has told him. Deadpool uses this moment of trepidation to draw his sword and slice off Batman's head, leaving Superman and Wonder Woman in total shock with their mouths agape at what just happened to Batman. Now, Deadpool asks, what? He's just like a guy. What did you think was going to happen? I didn't have to figure out his weakness, because his weakness is that his head comes off with a sword when it passes through his neck. I do not get why you guys are so surprised right now. Now enraged, Superman moves at super speed and lands a devastating punch on Deadpool. He's soon joined by Wonder Woman, and the last two take turns pummeling Deadpool, but of course, Deadpool just keeps healing from the beatings. Now eventually, Superman is standing over Deadpool, ready to deliver what should be the final blow, but he hesitates, not wanting to break his rule against killing others, no matter how angry he is over the deaths of his friends. And Deadpool uses this opening to draw a pistol from his side and fires a single glowing green bullet into Superman's skull. And the Man of Steel staggers, clearly weakened, and Deadpool unloads round after round of kryptonite bullets into Superman, leaving him nearly dead. And suddenly, Deadpool is ensnared by Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, and she asks him who he is and why he's here, knowing that this time he must tell her the truth. He tells her his name and says that he's there for information and that once he gets it, he'll leave and spare her and Superman's life. He tells her that if she lets him go and places the lasso on her own wrist so that he knows she's telling him the truth, he'll leave and won't hurt anyone else. Now normally she would never take his word for this, but she knows that he's being truthful. So she does as he asks and puts the lasso on her arms and allows him to take the other end, which he promptly pulls tight, binding her hands together. And so the reason for this is, like I said, there were some ridiculous weaknesses these characters had over the years. And Wonder Woman's weakness used to be that if her bracelets were tied together by a man, she lost all of her power. Now obviously, this was eventually dropped as people realized how dumb and sexist it was. But as I said, we're ignoring a lot of continuity as we're dealing with alternate realities anyway by virtue of this being a what-if story. But regardless, Wonder Woman is shocked that Deadpool was able to lie to her while being ensnared by the lasso. But he explains that since he's not from her reality, the lasso has no effect on him. And since she's now powerless, he's able to simply just kill her before doing the same to Superman by unloading a few more rounds of kryptonite bullets into him before he dies. And so following this, Deadpool makes his way back to Earth, having slain the mightiest of DC heroes, and heads back towards the nexus of all realities. When the voice in his head asks him where he's gonna go next, and he replies, I don't know, Mordor, Hogwarts, Tatooine, Disney World, who can say? And with that, he steps inside the Nexus, leaving a defeated universe behind him. So yeah, that's kind of how I see that going down. I think it's awesome. I think it's a cool story. I kind of feel like we should expand on that. Deadpool versus the Sinestro Corps, or like the Red Lanterns. Okay, here's my question for you guys. Which Lantern Corps would Deadpool end up joining? That's my question. Like which Lantern ring would Deadpool get? But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you all later. Peace. I want to say thank you to all of the new patrons who have joined patreon.com/comicsexplained. I want to give a shout out to Henry, Young Typhon, Elias G, David JS, Jacob H, Ben, John H, Jason C, Austin S, Austin H, James O, Chris T, Matt N, Jeff R, Joey M, Stephen Z, Sloth Like Lou, David C, John H, Lean and Mean. That guy asks questions all the time. Adam K, Genosis 916. I want to say thank you to all of you all. This list is growing all the time. Thank you for joining the Patreon.